It's before our move into our new offices, so I'm sitting in front of a whole bunch of packing boxes, so I know it makes a lovely backdrop. But Free Tip Friday is all about being a little more casual, so that's what I've got today. Let me jump on and make sure that I can see all of you guys and that you can see me. And it looks like we're on all channels. Yes, there we go. Fantastic. Let me see. I can see all of you guys. Great. Okay. Great. Happy Friday, everyone. Sorry I was just a little late. As I was prepping for the broadcast, I of course dropped the necklace. So I had to quickly restring one strand. So that's why I was a little off. Can you guys see me also on YouTube? I'm going to refresh our YouTube and make sure. Sometimes, yep, there it is. Sometimes it's a little, it takes a little bit longer for the YouTube feed to come up. So, yes, good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you guys are. Let me fix myself up a little bit so there we go. Alrighty. Here we are. Yes, it's great to have everybody here. I've got Gita, who's also recovering from her little bit of an injury that she had. Gita does a lot of our moderating from across the pond over in Denmark. It's great to have you guys all here. Great. Yes, it's good to see everybody. Good, I see everybody. And yes, thanks for all of the well wishes. My cold has passed, so nothing, a little head cold can't get me down, so we're all good to go. So it's great to see everybody. So I see that you guys are also watching over on our YouTube feed, which is great. Good to have you all. I wanted to mention a couple of things before we jump in to the project that we're going to be working on. I have, as you know, there's a lot of great, exciting things that are happening here at beadshop.com. One, we're doing our big move to our new offices, which are going to be great. That move actually starts January 16th, right after that Facebook or our live broadcast that day. Then we are going to be moving, and then back up on the 23rd, Janice and Drea are going to be doing that Facebook live broadcast from the East Coast, which is going to be exciting. And so we'll be moving offices then. We'll still be open, but our shipping will take a little bit of a hiatus during that time. But if you have not signed up for our newsletter, go right to beadshop.com and we'll keep you informed every step of the way what's going on with orders and stuff. So that's the best way to communicate with us there. Also, Karen has a couple of things up her sleeve. After we move, sometime towards, I think, probably the end of February, you'll be seeing some changes on the website, which is really exciting, but it's just a secret between you and me. We're going to have a big rollout for some of the redesign that we're doing. Same wonderful functionality, same wonderful projects and products, but I think you're going to like some of the changes that are coming. It'll be really a lot easier to navigate, and all kinds of cool things are happening. So Karen has been working her buns, I guess I could say, off. She's working really, really hard to get all of that done. So that's coming up, and we will be sharing more of that via our newsletter as well. So those are a couple of things that are coming up with us. But today, let's get started. We've got a project to look at, shall we? So let me put on my glasses and turn the camera around and show you what we're working on today with part 2. So let me turn this around, get a little close to the camera here, and turn it around here. As you know, our Free Tip Fridays here on our Facebook Live. Look at, you can see all my screens. Isn't that funny? Let's move this screen over, get that going, and I'll move my phone screen over. There we go. One of the new things I know that you guys know that I'm super excited about for our new space is we have a dedicated Facebook Live studio. It's going to be so good to have all of that dedicated space to work with, to film. Lots of fun educational things are going to be coming down the pike with that ability to film so frequently. So I can't wait to share that stuff with you guys as well. So yes, things are moving right along here at beadshop.com. Always exciting. And I see our Emily M. Hello, Emily Miller is on and watching, which is great. Great to see our Emily. Emily, I just got a package from you. The mailman just brought it. So I'm excited to see what's inside. I can't wait to see what's in there. Okay, so kids, remember, let me get a little close here so you guys can see this. So, not last week's Free Tip Friday, but the week before, I made some freeform peyote stitch beads. So if you didn't watch that episode of Free Tip Friday, you can go back and watch that episode, which was really fun to do. I just love freeform peyote stitch. Let me get a little more light in here, make it a little bit brighter on there. There we go. I think that looks good. They're so super easy, and I know that you guys have kind of been loving it as well, because I see in your orders that you guys are jumping in and getting our wood beads that are the base of these. So you can go over to our blog, you guys. It's the Bead Shop, the Bead Table blog. There's a link to it on our website on beadshop.com. But the bases for these, okay. Oh, and thank you, Gita, so much for doing that linking. We are ever so grateful for that. You can see here the wood beads. This is the largest one that I did with this size. I think it's the 25 millimeter. And then this guy here is the, I think 20 millimeter, the smaller one. And then this is the oblong one that I used, the long oval. And so the beads, you can see, they do add some bulk to the bead. So if this was the original size, there's the bead that covered it. So it's a little bit of a different, of a size difference. Pardon me, excuse me. And so, so that's what I used for the base there. People have also asked, Kate, did you paint them? And no, I did not. So the base is just as it is, though you could paint it if you wanted. You could totally slap a little bit of paint on there if you felt like it. So that works out as well. So I made 3 of these. Now, I could have made a whole bunch more, but, I'm a busy lady, so I only had time to knock out 3 of these. But I really love the way that they came out. And if you watched the last episode, or the Free Tip Friday from 2 weeks ago, I talk a little bit about how I pulled this color palette. Essentially, I had some beads that were already pulled or left over from different projects, and they kind of came together in this kind of funky, kind of vintage-inspired palette. So I'm pretty proud of them. I really like them. I really like the way that they came out. So what I decided to string with you guys, and let me make this a little bit larger here, the view. What I did was, let me pull this around. I used our bone beads for this, and you know that I use them in the project, that tribal collar that I did a while back, a few Facebook Lives ago. That's what I used for the base of it. So I'm really kind of loving the way that these beads look. So I used these guys. I used exactly 2 strands of them. So we have them in some different finishes. We have it in a white, a light brown, and the dark brown. So this is the dark brown that I used. And again, I used exactly 2 strands to make these this 3-strand necklace. Okay. So so what I did was I just strung it up. We have some new, let me pull that up a little bit and you guys can see. we have some new Padre-like beads that we're calling our popcorn Padres. These are a really super long strand. You can see here, and we've got some new colorways that have come in. This is the mustard, and I thought, you know, I used that mustard seed bead in this project, so I thought I would use the mustard Padres, which I really love. So I used that, and then I used some brass shadows to string it with, and these are the brass here. Right now we're having our huge beginning of the year store-wide clearance sale and moving clearance sale. So just about everything we have is on sale. Consequently, just about everything we have almost is getting out of stock. Just take note that we have done a lot of reordering, some reordering, not a lot, because we don't want to move it. So you'll see a lot of things come back into stock slowly over the next few days. So if when you're watching this, if you're watching it live, the big shadows, or the regular shadows in brass, I think we're out of currently, but they'll be back in really, really shortly. So don't fret about that. But we have them in other colors. I use the brass, but you could use any other of the flavors that we have in this. And so these were the two that I kind of used to do all of my stringing with here. Okay, so I just, let me get this out of the way. So, and I strung it on some Ceylon that I use nutmeg, regular Ceylon. You can use whatever color you want, you guys. Doesn't make any difference. Whatever works for you. I liked this nutmeg color, so that's what I used. I thought it looked pretty nice with that. Okay, so let me get this stuff out of the way here so we can actually take a look at the necklace. And literally, you guys, I strung this up this morning. I had the best of intentions of getting it done last night, but that didn't happen. Let's turn this around so you guys can see this. And yeah, just put the pieces, you know, if we're out of stock on things, just put them on your wish list and make sure you get on the notification because a lot of our really popular things go in and out of stock so quickly that, you know, we're not getting rid of them, but we do, you know, it does take a while, especially with the holidays, you know, to get things now that they're past. Everybody's back. You know, our suppliers are all back and stuff. So it takes a little bit of time to get things back in. But use your wish list feature, you guys. If you don't use it on beadshop.com, make that wish list. Make sure you get a notification when we get those things back in stock. And then jump on it because it's you and a bunch of other people super excited about things being back in stock. So that's a little bit of a shopping tip for me, from me to you guys. So here's the necklace, okay? And I started, as I said, I strung it before the broadcast, and I was a little late coming on because I was testing the size. And of course, one of the strands came loose from its moorings and fell on the floor. So I was a little peeved about that, but I quickly restrung it and we're back to normal. So let me kind of pull these guys out and I can show you kind of my thinking behind the stringing of this. So can you see, let me scoot this all down. You can see when I lay it out long, let me keep moving it down here. What I did when I was stringing, I kind of put my big beads spaced kind of how I wanted them to be. And then I just started stringing across. Now I have my little measuring guide. Let me pull this down for a second. This is about, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. The resulting necklace for this is going to be about 20 inches-ish, about. So I have, this is about 19 because the closure that I'm going to make is going to give me about an inch extra, okay? So I also, this is when I start to kind of figure out my lengths and stuff as well, okay? So I'm going to just have these guys down like this, and I'm going to pull this other side here this way. And I'm going to pull these guys out too. Okay. Now with tape, you guys, tape is a slippery slope. Tape works really well for soft flex and other nylon coated beading wires, you know, as a stopper to make things not fall off. But tape with this seal-on, it's a little scary. So sometimes I use bead stoppers for those little coils that we have for closing off. But for this particular one, I didn't have bead stoppers right to hand, so I just used tape. So I'm going to use tape again to close this off because I'm a glutton for punishment, right? So I'm going to, for this end though, before I put the tape on, I want to get a little bit of a taper. So I'm going to put one of the popcorn padres on the end. And notice how when I strung this, you guys, I used the regular seal-on, again in nutmeg, and I used a collapsible eye needle. Okay, and that collapsible eye needle was perfect for getting these beads right on the string on this doubled strand. I could have strung these singly, right? I could have done that, but I really wanted the doubled strand for this, for strength. So, so that's what I did. So my middle strand is actually this guy. This is the one that fell on the ground. So it has a mind of its own. So let me move this here. And like you guys hear me say all the time when I'm stringing, right? I never try and string and close on the same day. Okay, so if I were making this in real life, whoops, I'm doing this off camera. Let me make sure you guys can see that. If I were stringing this in real life and not in demo life, okay, I would never close it on the same day. Just because I like to let things simmer to see what they look like as well. So that's kind of my bead philosophy there. But since it was Free Tip Friday day, I knew I had to get this business done. So let me close this up. Whoops, and you know what? I was talking. I closed this, but I didn't taper it. Okay, so let me taper it with one of the shadows. And now let me put a piece of tape on that. Okay. And yeah, these are, oh, thanks for linking the beads, Gita. It's the dark brown barrel beads, but you could use stuff out of your stash too. I wanted the backdrop of this to be kind of, what do I want to say? I don't want to say nondescript because that's not the right word, but kind of a neutral, right? So I did this kind of brown bead, which was my neutral here. I'm going to put on another shadow on the end. And yeah, I wanted the organic look because the organic kind of feel of these bone beads kind of mirrored the organic feel of the freeform peyote. Okay, so these are all together and done and closed off pretty solidly. Okay. Now, what I want to look at, I'm going to slide this over. Slide this over here so you guys can see the end. This end, right? How these guys look. And you can see, make them all even about. So you can see that I've tapered. I'm tapering. No, you can't see that at all. Let me move the camera over a little bit. There we go. You can see that now. You can see now that things are tapered a little bit, but they're not quite tapered in the right order. This guy that has the biggest bead on it, the way it's going to hang is it's a little heavy because this is in the middle and it's kind of almost center-ish. So what I actually want to do is I'm going to put, that one's going to be on the bottom, that bead. Let me slide this over so you guys can see on this side. See how I'm evening everything out. That looks about right. Okay, about even. I'm going to slide everything back over so you can see the end here. That's why you need a big bead table to work on, right? So there's that guy, this is tapered, and this is tapered. So that looks about right to me, okay? I actually may, when I close this up, I'm going to bring it into the round and make sure that it's right. There's a lot of, I don't know, there's just a lot of playing around when you have to do this, when you do your closure. And these are actually bone. They're bone beads. They're African beads. Usually bone beads are usually water buffalo, and they're not killed for beads, but they are a byproduct of the meat industry. So if you are a vegan, these beads are probably not for you. But there are many alternatives for that. And so you can decide what it is that works for you. So there we go. So these are all together. Let me close these off before anything else happens and one of these kind of goes off the rails. Okay, so I'm going to close this up. I'm closing this one at a time, right? So it's nice and deliberate so that my tape isn't going to fall off. I was rushing, you know, to get ready for Free Tip Friday, and so I was a little slapdash with my tape application. So, of course, one strand ended up on the floor, but that's okay. It wasn't a very intricate design. I was, you know, kind of able to corral them all back and string them together. So now, when I'm sizing this, you guys, what I do is, and this is an exercise in patience for sure, see how I bring all of those tapes together like this? Now I'm going to retape them, right? So it's acting like a clasp. Again, deliberate, really making sure that the tape is on there. It's in the correct order of my strands. Let me slide this back over here. Okay. And then we're going to bring these all together and tape these together. Really good question from Veronica. Why did I use Ceylon rather than Softflex to string this necklace? It's a great question. I thought about stringing it with Softflex, actually, Veronica, because Softflex to me is super fast and easy, and I don't need a needle and all that stuff. And I thought about, honestly, let me get, do I still have it here? This is the bag that I've been carrying around the project in, so, you know, it's so glamorous here. So, I thought about using this clasp earlier, okay? This is our Clio, our vertical Clio 3. That's three loops in it, right? I love it. I love the way it makes necklaces sit. I like it a lot. But then I thought, well, this necklace that I'm creating, the style of the necklace, might lend itself a little bit better to a button and loop, a macrame button and loop, okay? And so the macrame, the choice for that macrame, for me, would be Ceylon, rather than having the Softflex to macrame over the top or whatever. But you could, you know, you could do it. You could also use like 4 or 0.4 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. We could do that too. So if I were doing this clasp, and it's not a bad choice for it, I would have just come in, strung it on soft flex, used wire guardians and crimp covers to string it all on, right? And I think it would have looked good. I'm going to use the Spirits button of ours. I think it really spoke to the design of the piece, so that's kind of why I changed my mind. And again, that's why I used the Ceylon. But it really just depends on what you dig and what you, I don't know, kind of the spirit, literally, of the finished piece. So that's why I used the Ceylon. And also, I liked the drape of the Ceylon too, so that's what I did. So that was, but a really great question. Taped here. Can you see those ends? Okay, kind of how those are kind of coming together here. The ends kind of bring everything. This kind of brings everything together. Let me see. Let me kind of. So that's that one. Here's the middle one. How's this going to sit? It's going to sit kind of like that. And then this one, which is the outside one. So I actually need to, let me shake it out one more time. Make sure that these are, there we go. Okay, so that looks about right. I'm telling you, I always say when I do a necklace like this, it's like making a couture dress, right? You have to kind of try it on again and again and again. It looks to me, see, and I can tell, see from this end, all right, like this, this end's a little, it's a little long for me. So I'm gonna, if I pull it up, maybe 2 beads. Yeah, that looks about right. So I know I need to take 2 beads off. So I'm going to pull this out. Take these 2 beads off. Done and done. Okay. And I'll put another piece of tape on it. Okay. So it's a little, you know, you just have to fiddle. I always say it takes almost as much time to close one of these statement necklaces than it does to actually string it, right? So let me get this gathered back together. String it up. You know, and I've made, you know, hundreds of these necklaces probably in the last 30 years that I've been stringing. So you kind of start to know what to look for, but there we go. So when I hold this around, let me just hold it kind of up. Bear with me here, this blank screen. Yeah, that'll be okay. Okay. What's the, this is a good question here. Who has Barbara says, never use threads or cord, only wire and fireline. Anything you all think best is best for first shot use. Barbara, you know, thread, so let me tell you, I think thread, like this Ceylon, we carry a billion different colors on beadshop.com. It's not expensive, right? So to try things like this out using the regular Ceylon, you could even use the fine is the next size down, smaller size. It only is a cost in time, really, right? So don't sweat it. Just jump in and string, you know, and play around with it. It's the only way that you're gonna feel more proficient. And you know what? If it doesn't turn out right, or you don't like the array of beads that you put on, who cares? You know, take the beads off and restring them, right? The closure I'm going to show, I've done a lot in a lot of our different beadshop.com tutorials. So if you go to our website, you go to projects, and you click on those, you'll see each of the different projects. Click on them. The videos are connected to all of them. A lot of them also have episode notes that spell everything out step by step, so you'll be in real good hands. And you can always shoot me an email here at kate@beadshop.com if you have specific questions, okay? But the only way to get better at just kind of jumping in and stringing is jump in and string, really, right? So I keep kind of playing around with this, but I feel like this now, this one with this long guy, this one is like one too long, okay? So I'm going to take off, I'm going to pull all this out. So it's, so everything is a little more tapered, right? And 3 different lengths rather than exactly one length. Okay, if that makes sense. So, and get yourself big beads. You know, this went together really fast. I mean, I'm a stringer, right? Hardcore stringer, fast stringer. So I can string these beads up fast. So use bigger beads if you're starting on a necklace like this, right? And, you know, it's, for me, I'm this way with kind of all crafts, really. I like to call myself an omnicrafter, right? I dabble in a lot of different things. For me, it's about the process as much as the finished product. I know a lot of people are like finished product designers or makers. They want to do it because they want that finished piece. I'll be honest, for me, whether it's weaving or knitting or, I don't know, multimedia, mixed media, any of those things, for me, it's more about the process and learning, getting some proficiency in my hands and learning the actual process than it really is for me the finished product. After I conquer that process, then I can jump in and pay more attention to finished projects. I hope that makes sense to you, or to any of you guys who are listening. But, and one way isn't better than the other at all. I mean, sometimes if I'm really just dabbling in a craft, I don't know, and I really just want to make that one thing for the sake of making it, then I'm all about, you know, the project. But for the most part, it's the process for me that really makes me all stoked. So, but anyway, that's, you know, just depends on what your goals are, and nothing is more correct, I think, than the other. Okay, so you can see, let me make this shot a little bit bigger. So while I was giving you my little chitty chat, I retaped everything so it was single again. And I can line everything up again to see how everything is looking. Okay? And it looks like this is about right for me. Okay? And as I bring them around, Carol says you just want to keep your hands busy. Carol, you are singing my song right there. I don't know. I feel like I can't even watch a movie at home without something in my hands. I don't know if that's generational, maybe, right? I'm 50-something, 52, I think is how old I am. And so I was always taught as a kid, you know, we were always busy making something or doing something. So I don't know if it's generational or if it's crafters are that way or whatever, but, you know, the day I watch a movie without something in my hands, I don't know. It'll be the day that my hands aren't working, I guess, right? Okay, so this looks like it's ready to go, okay? And everything is slightly tapered, okay? And so it's ready. And yeah, I use tape just as a reminder. I could have used bead stoppers, but A, I couldn't find my bead stoppers, and B, I use tape a lot. You need to be careful when you're closing up with tape that the tape doesn't slip off. Okay, so I'm being super deliberate as I do these. Okay, so now I need to make some choices. Okay, I need to decide how I know that I'm going to do probably like a macrame loop on this side to go on the button side here. So I'm going to deal with the button, I think, first, because whatever I do loop-wise will dictate, the button size will dictate how big my loop is supposed to be. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to take, again, this process feels like it's just about taking tape on, putting tape on and taking tape off, right? That's all. That's all this seems to be. But I want to bring all of these strands together. So I'm going to use a bead that has a big hole, all right, to do that. So I also could have put zap glue on the ends of these to make little self needles. But instead, I'm going to bring them all together. Or I could use a big eye needle or something like that, right? But this is our sandcast brown rock. See how it has such a big hole to it? I also pulled, I don't know where they ended up. There they are. I also pulled these guys. These are our old Cameroon beads, which are super gorgeous. These guys, those have a pretty big hole that would work. You could also use our circle of bronze or something, you know. Pardon me. All of those would work. So you just need, essentially, a bead with a big hole, okay? So let me put all of these through, like so. And you want all of these threads to be able to go through like twice. Right? So it's going through. I'm going to send this through the shank of my button. Okay, all strands through. Now, I'm going to kind of work out here. I probably would be better serviced with a needle, but I'm going to just kind of, you know, bring it through. Yeah, you know, Barbara, you can use tape. I mean, you could use bead stoppers if you had them, but, you know, I had the tape sitting right here on my desk. I've been stringing for almost 30 years, and it was way before bead stoppers, right? And, you know, here, my philosophy here at beadshop.com is you really do you. You're the master or mistress of your own bead destiny, right? So you do what works for you. You can see what I've done here. This is kind of a little tip here. I'm going to get I have one more needle left here. And see, I have two of these guys that haven't gone through the bead. So I don't worry. I'm just going to now get my needle. There's my collapsible eye needle. And I'm going to send it through. This one might need a little help with the needle. I didn't pre-test these beads, but I think everything will go through. There we go. That one, there we go. That one went. And now let's send this other one through too. Okay? That's why it just takes forever sometimes to close this. Oh, my friend Christine is on. Hi, Christine. Christine is an excellent stringer. Also happens to be my very best friend in the whole wide world. He was a great stringer. Christine, I wish you were here. I wish we were making things together. Someday. Sometime soon. While drinking a cocktail. Together. Not that we've ever done that before. Put this through that collapsible eye needle. Come on now. Listen to me. There we go. And go through that bead hole again. Let's see. This is probably the maximum amount of threads I can get through there. But let's send that through. Try not to, whoops. Try not to have them come out. Those of you guys who are talking about the homecoming kit, I know, wasn't it a good one? I still have the necklace here on my desk that I have to finish with my kit. But never fear. I have a curated kit that's coming. Oh my gosh, I can't quite get this through. I need a plier. Let me get one. But we have some more curated kits, you guys, coming up, and more mixes. So don't you worry. We're not gonna never do it again. It'll be a new, fun, interesting one for you. I've got one coming up, maybe at the, I don't know, don't quote me on this. Maybe sometime in February, maybe. Stay tuned. You never know what we're doing. Okay. We never know. So let me see. I can't quite get this through. Let me see if I can do it with this. Oh, did I break the needle or did I get it through? I think I got it through. Yes. Good one. So if I couldn't have gotten these through, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. You can just actually take one of the threads out here and knot it in, as you go underneath here. So, but that's okay. Let me now try and make sense of this tangled mess here for you. Our move is coming up in just a couple of weeks. Actually, my studio move, though, starts this weekend. So I'm combining my studio and our beadshop.com offices. So it's going to be very exciting. A whole new and exciting plan here at beadshop.com. Gosh, this really looks like a big old mess, doesn't it? Just bear with me here. You just have to have patience, and you just tell all of these strands, hey man, do what I tell you. It's this little short one that's giving me the fits here. Come on now. There we go. So I need to take up all of this slack, right? No, Cindy, my studio is in South City, South San Francisco, my teaching studio. I made a choice long ago not to have any studio stuff at my house. I have a few things now because I do take things home and work on them sometimes. What am I saying sometimes? I take things home all the time and work on them. But my metalsmithing stuff and everything is at my studio. So, come on. Okay, so see how I'm having issues with this? So what I would do, and I'm going to do it because this is a pain in my butt, right? And it's not exciting for you guys to watch. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this off because there's not enough room in that bead. Okay? So I'm going to, and it's no big deal. I'm going to slide this back down and we're going to reduce the number of strands. It just makes sense. Okay? So no big deal. I'm going to leave, actually, what was giving me so much guff? Maybe 2 of these strands. I'm going to leave this one out, and I'm going to leave this one out. And I knew that, I knew that already when I was doing it, but I just wanted to bend this thread to my will. Okay, so I've got these guys out here. Okay, and no, the whole size, it was just too small. I was trying to shove too many strands together. I was just being stubborn and doing that. So that's okay. So I clip. There we go. So now everything's nice and even. Now, let's do this again. Put it back through. Put them back through. There we go. And now, let me see if I can just get these back through without a needle. I think I can. Maybe. Yeah, look at that. Look at how much. Don't fight the thread when that's happening. Just go to your plan B. There's my plan B. Look at that. Look at how much easier that is. What a surprise. Let me make sure that I'm on in view here. Okay, so you guys can see this. So now see, these were the two that I left out before, right? So I've got 6 strands total, or 6 threads total, because everything was doubled. So let's just make sure everything is tight-ish. Tight, there we go. I want to pull that other one tight. I think it was this one. Now I'm going to split these threads, okay, like this. See how I'm underneath the bead hole? Can you see that? Underneath there? There you go. You can. I'm going to tie this into a square knot. I'm going to go my right hand over left and down. Or if I had a little bit of space, you guys, I could also like macrame a little bit here. But I just want this to be nice and tight. Okay, so right over left. Now I'm going to flip everything over to the other side. And I'm going to go left over right. And I'm going to tie it one more time to give me that full square knot. Okay. Now, I still have, it's nice and firm. I've got some movement here where my button is. Okay. I've got this knot here. I'm going to tighten it up. And now that knot's just going to kind of live there. Okay. I'm going to come in. You know what I'm going to use. My favorite. You could use hypo cement too if you wanted. But I'm going to use my Zap glue. I'm just going to come in. I'm going to really soak that. Oh, there was a bunch of junk on this Zap, so let me get my little baggie, wipe a little bit of that extra away. I really should have a toothpick next to me, but I don't today. There we go. That looks good. Now I can come in, I can add a little more Zap right on that side. Let me get my lid back on this Zap so I don't glue my hand to the desk. Now, when I glue things, I let things, especially with thread, and I've been, you know, gluing threads, again, 30 years, forever. And they really do stay, but I need that thread needs time to take up that glue and sit. So I let it sit. I let it sit 24 hours and I don't do anything. I don't cut any of this away. Okay? So I just let it go. That's where it is there. Okay? And tomorrow I'll come in with my really sharp shears and I'll cut this away. What I could also do, Janice did this on her homecoming piece, and you'll see me do it next week when I do her Zen of Fishing project. You could leave these, and I could string them as some kind of fringe or dangle. I could do that too. Whatever worked for you. Okay. Now, let's talk, let me get this glue again, that baggie with the glue out of the way, because you know what I'll do? I'll glue my hand to the table. I want to make sure that everything is nice and even here, right? So everything is laying out correctly. Let me make this big so you guys can see it. And on this side, I'm going to make a macrame loop. Okay? And the macrame loop, all I'm going to do is, I guess I'll put the big bead on, I suppose. I don't know. This, I'll take all of this off. I'm just making, I know, all the glue. I know, the glue. It's far away. Don't worry. The glue is not even near me. I will not glue my hand to the table. Not that I haven't done that before. Okay, so this, basically, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to untangle these needles, because now they're a little bit of a tangled mess. Let me do this one by one. Again, it's because you just, you know, a closure can't be rushed. It just can't be. And yes, I'm definitely factoring in some air, Spidey, and let me show you how I'm doing that. I'm going to get all of these needles together. I'm going to get my big hole bead in there. And I'm going to pull everything together like this. And I'm going to shake it all out and make sure that I'm kind of in a curve so that everything is sitting nicely. Okay? All right. So now, what do? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I do know what I'm going to do. I'll show you. I'm going to take one of the needles, like this. I'm going to put that aside. These two guys here. Maybe I'll kind of just put a piece of tape down here. I'm going to make kind of a little, I'm going to get maybe my seal on there. Put a piece of tape, you guys can't see me in frame, but put a piece of tape down there. Kind of get my seal-on spool. Because to macrame, I kind of need everything a little bit on the tight side. But there we go. That looks okay. So now I've got 2 strands. I've got 6 full strands of seal-on here, right? So now I'm going to macrame around 4 with these 2. Okay, so let's just do it. I'm going to snip this off. Put this needle aside because I can still use it. It's still fine. And I'm just going to split these threads. And you guys have seen me do this many times before. I don't know, maybe that little seal-on spool isn't giving me what I want. I could, probably what I should do is line this up on a board, but you know, what are you going to do? I'm the same way. I get super excited when I'm close. Like right now, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so close. I'm so ready to wear this piece. But I guess we just have to be patient. There we go, as long as I'm in frame. Oh, I'm glad you like the colors on this, Rita. I am kind of loving them too. Now, these tails are plenty long to macrame with, and you've seen me macrame. We have a skill builder right on beadshop.com about how to macrame, but I'm going to start my first half hitch. There we go. And see, that first half hitch helps me tighten everything. Let me get it a little tighter. Maybe you guys can see it a little bit better. I know my hands are going to be in the way a little bit. Now I'm going to go on the opposite side. There's my P side. Get the tail over that thread, under all the threads, and come up and out the loop. You fall into a rhythm, going back and forth. If we were just macrameing in one direction, our macrame would spiral. Okay, so this is, yes, this is that series of half hitches for the loop. I go there, back and forth, back and forth. And then once I complete this loop, what I'm going to do is I'll bring the other threads back through and I'll tie them off underneath just like I did for the button. It's a little unwieldy. My hands don't want to go very fast. So try and bear with me, you guys. It's going to take me just a few moments to macrame this. Okay. But go ahead and drop your questions. This is a good time for me to answer questions if you have them while I'm multitasking. This little piece of tape that I put down there, it seems to be holding things. So it's holding things kind of tight for me. You can find, just as a reminder, if you have not watched the broadcast from the beginning, you can do it, of course, later on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page and on our blog. This one will be on our blog. But if you go to our blog and search Freeform Peyote Stitch beads, this will be this will all be up there, including all of the beads that I used. So yeah, this is just a square knots, half hitches, right over left, you know, the macrame knot. So here's that loop. I go with my right hand and up and through. And then here's my loop on my right side, the left side going under, over, under, and through, right? So it's just our very same square knot that, or the macrame flat knot, I guess, that we have done to death a million times. But, you know, it works out so nicely that why change, right? If it's not broke, what do they say? If it's not broken, don't fix it. I'm one of those. If it's not broken, I will sing the same old song every time. If it's not broken, don't fix it. All right, we're getting close. We're getting there. We just need to make this this big enough, and we'll check it in just a few. Yeah, the twisted, I agree, Mimi. I think the twisted loop would give it a little bit of texture, might give it a little bit of a different look. It's not such a big macrame piece that it would look funny or too bulky, I think. So you could try doing that for sure. Yeah, I love the macrame too. Lorraine was commenting how much she loves to macrame. I love it too, and I think, you know, I hadn't done it in so long, and when I joined Janice back here at beadshop.com, I saw some of the pieces that she was making. One of them, it's our Born Yesterday project with the macrame, and I was so taken by it, you know, and the poetry project as well. If you haven't tried those two will really forward your macrame skills. The poetry is so so delightful to make, and it makes up so quickly. It's really nice. Really, really nice. So let's see, we're close. This loop is not going to be quite big enough, so I just need to keep going because I want to show you guys the finished piece. I know that this is a little bit like watching paint dry, but I'll get there. Perseverance, right? Always gets us there in the end. And if you haven't been to... Hi, Faye. It's good to see you. Faye just jumped on our Facebook feed. Great to have you this Friday morning. If you haven't jumped over to beadshop.com, if you're new to watching us, because I know a lot of you find us via YouTube, our YouTube channel. If you go to our website and you click on projects, it's right at the top of the page on our nav bar. So many projects are going to jump up, and you're going to see those index photos of the projects. What you're going to do, you guys, is click on that photo, and all of the many different samples for that project will come up. Okay? So you will see so many variations on a theme. So it's a good way to kind of jump in and get your feet wet. And a lot of them have written tutorials, episode notes for our Facebook Live broadcasts, as well as different skill builders and stuff. So we link to all of the learning. So we're with you every step of the way as you make these. All right, so let's see. I'm close. Let's see if this looks about right. It looks like I need maybe 3 more sections. So close. The loop is always longer than you think it needs to be, right? So I'm just going to keep knotting. I'll do 3 more pairs. There's 1 pair, or as my trainer used to say, 3 more reps. That's why I don't have a trainer anymore. No more reps. No. There we go. And then this 3rd one. Okay. Here and here. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Okay. There we go. So here's this. I'm totally making this for you, Faye. You betcha. There we go. Can you see how I brought the button in, and I can really see that works perfectly. Okay. So I'm going to take this apart, or take this off of the tape, and see how I just pulled it and the tape just split down the center, and I'll put the tape in the pile with the baggie that has the glue on it. Now I'm just going to send all of these through that big hole bead. Okay, so let's do it. And I need a little bit of air here, a little bit of space, because that knot needs to be able to sit somewhere. So I'll send this through. This side is real easy because I still have the needles on most of these. Okay, so there's that. There goes that one. Let's get my other one with the needle. Of course, it wants to tangle. Where are the two? Where are my 2 macrame ends? That's what's given me some sass. So those 2 ends. There we go. Tape those down. Let me pull these in. There we go. And you want to make sure that nothing is too twisted. So see how I fixed all that? It's coming around, and then the threads are entering on this side of the loop. Okay. This one here, pull it through. Send it through. There we go. Alrighty. Now these guys here, let's get our needle from before that I used. One at a time, these guys should go through. Once. Oh. There we go. And this last one. Can you see why it takes as long, or sometimes longer, to do the closure, you know, a fancy bespoke closure like this, as it does to string the beads, right? Let's see if I can get this last one in there. I hope so. It's a little tight on the other side, but I think with these needles, you know, with everything kind of draped over the needle eye, it's a little bit easier to come through. And the holes sometimes on these sand cast are a little different, so maybe this hole is a little bit bigger. Yep, there it went. Fantastic. So now we just pull everything even, get rid of all of this extra thread in the loop. So I just gently tug on each one of these. One, nope, there's that one, and there's that one, and there's that one. Okay. Now what do I do before I knot this closed, you guys? What do? I check it. Right? It's important to be well hydrated and rested before embarking on the closure. It is so true. That is exactly right. So see here, there's that closure. Looks good. Okay. And now you can see that's it. That's all she wrote, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and knot this off just like I did this previous one. I'm going to then let it sit. Then I'll come in tomorrow, 24 hours after it's sat, and clip these ends away. Okay? But that really is it. I'm going to tape these together now, and I'll finish that up later. But when I move the camera around, I'm actually going to put it on to see if it's the right length, but I think it is. Let's hope so. Untwist it a little bit. But there, we've got it. Okay, you guys can see it. Okay. So, let me turn this. It's about that time. So let me turn things around here. And let's see. It's like the big reveal. We'll see if this actually worked. I'm going to turn this around to see you guys here. There I am. Let me make it a little bit bigger. I'll close the window out back so you guys can see. And let me see. I'll put it on before we part ways. There we go. Get this there. Get this down just a little bit. Fix my bangs. There we go. All right, so let's see. I'll take off this sweater here. And let's check. Let me put my comments here so I'm facing forward. There's this. Can I see myself? Okay. There we go. Look at the mess. My moving box is behind me. But I did want to put this on. Drum roll, please. So you guys can see how it's sat. Okay. So I can use some of your moving boxes, Faye. Let me take a look at my feed here. Yep, great. I love it. Yeah, I think this works just perfectly. I think this is good. I would also maybe make this a 5-strander. I could, if I wanted it to be a little more full with this, I could make 2 more strands that were more plain, that were, you know, get that wood bead kind of in there too, and have some plainer strands too. So whatever works for you guys, but I love it. I am really excited about this piece. So here it is, kind of hanging. So let me get it. Which way is the camera? This way. There we go. So I'll have Karen take a photo of the finished piece without all of these things laying down and stuff, and I'll add it to the blog post so you guys can see it. But there's the closure. You can really see the closure very nicely like that. Okay. So, there you have it. Woo! We got through that Free Tip Friday. It was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little bit of an epic undertaking. Seems like I've got a little bit of lint on me. But it was fun. It was good times. So this kind of dovetails a little bit about what I'm going to do next week on Facebook Live, which is Janice has a new project in her Zen of series. This one's called the Zen of Fishing. The project will be up on the website sometime on Tuesday, next Tuesday. And she'll have all of those, all of the ingredients list and stuff there. And it's also on Thread. We're using Ceylon. It's kind of like her homecoming project, a little bit of this project thrown in. I think it's going to be really cool. I think you guys will love it. So we're also adding chain. The back portion of the piece is going to have chain. If you are on our Facebook group called beadshop.com, the bead table, our community page, I posted a photo of it, so it's there. And you can just go on. If you're not a member, go on, answer a few little questions, and I'll be glad to let you in. We'd be glad to have you there. So next week for Facebook Live, as I say, it's a new one in the Zen of series, Zen of Fishing. So we'll have that going on. And I hope you guys will enjoy it. So that's it. Be super creative. Have a great weekend. My studio move is this weekend, so I will probably be posting some photos on our Facebook group so you guys can see what's going on. And then we have just a couple more weeks until our move. So stay tuned to our newsletter for all of the details on that. But have a fantastic weekend, you guys. It's Kate Richburg for beadshop.com. I'll see you next week on Facebook Live. Talk to you guys soon.